Thank you for joining us on this other edition of the book with me, Susan Baum. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. Love draws us back to love. Love uncovers love, and love takes us home. Well, the book we are going to be looking at today is titled The Mystery of Love. You now understand why I had to say all those beautiful statements. The author of this book is called Fonui Nwangebe, and he is right here in the studio for us to talk at length as far as the book is concerned. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And like I always say, it's always a treasure to share knowledge.
Yeah, always a treasure to share knowledge. And with our viewers today, we're going to be sharing a lot as far as love is concerned.
Absolutely.
The title of the book you have written is The Mysteries of Love, the untold story of Gift and Keisha. So tell me, you were so young, okay?
Yeah.
Yet you write about a passionate story. If this is not your experience, whose experience is that?
Thank you for that question. It is true that knowledge doesn't grow from a vacuum. Partly my experience, but more all of our experience. Because being a young person, I'm a passionate reader, I'm a live observer, and if you must have noticed, you saw an old man.
Yeah.
Dishing a lot of wisdom, life nuggets. That is an old man who is a real character in life, who must have lived life, who taught this young man growing up, who was so curious, a lot of life inspiring messages. But when he came to live life, he forgot it. You see, that's why the life of the book is so transformative, because there is an old man who has experienced life, who has been successful in his relationship, dishing out knowledge to a younger person, who now live it without putting it into practice and came to realize it only when it was too late.
How long did it take you to finalize this work?
I think it took me 4 years, not because it was tedious, because I remember very well. My mentor, Madame Suzanne, there told me that you don't need to hurry whenever you're writing a piece of work, and you really need to write something that is consumable for the public. And actually, I didn't even want to publish it because I really wanted to make something consumable for the public. It's just that the 2 or 3 persons that read bash into tears. And I'm like, why do you cry? And I said, okay, let me throw that in the public and see the public reaction. But truth be told, I've received so much invaluable feedback so far. So it took me 4 years.
Okay, now it's time for you to give us a brief summary of the mysteries of love, the untold story of Keisha and Gift.
Yeah, thank you. It's a very brief story of 2 young lovers who falls into love without actually knowing what it takes to love. Gift, being a young person, had an old person, the character called Old Man, who, as being inquisitive and so curious, asks a lot of questions based on the slangs and the things he heard young people and elderly people saying. Love doesn't exist, men are cheat, women are cheat, true love does not exist. So he asks his old man what it takes to build a great home, what it takes to live a purpose and a genuine life. And the old man taught him or told him a lot of things. But then when this young man fell into love, he forgot those things. Maybe because of youthful exuberance. And then when now the relationship felt apart or felt break, never crosses the finishing line, that is when he flashed back and started remembering those life lessons that the old father taught him, which was already late. But then he was able to gather himself, pick himself up to face life.
We're going to take a break right now. It's time for us to have our foreword. And this time we've been talking to Kiji Kabila. He is the one who wrote the foreword of this book. Let's watch.
The Mysteries of Love, The Untold Story of Gift and Keisha by Fonyi Nwongebe is a book that delves into the intricate issues about love and relationship. Nwongebe brings out certain principles that can be used for sustainable relationships, such as the consideration of compatibility, effective communication, mutual respect, trust and loyalty, spending quality time, and shared values and goals. Talking about effective communication, we know that communication is at the heart of every relationship, and for it to be effective, the two parties are supposed to be engaged and intentional about it. Moving into the aspect of mutual respect, we know that people come together in a relationship, in different individuals, and there is that individuality that must be respected, so that each person's values are maintained. And of course, in a relationship, there must be shared values between the two parties that come together, so much so that there is no clash of values and goals. Then there is supposed to be trust and loyalty, because this is at the heart of every relationship. Being someone passionate about educational matters, I see this book and the ideas in this book very pivotal and important in our contemporary context, especially in the African context, where sex education, love and relationship is considered in most African contexts as a taboo. So I see the principles of this book and the ideas that Nwongebe presents very important in teaching our children to know how relationships are supposed to be built towards sustainability and leading towards marriage, so that many challenges that our young people enter into can be solved.
You're welcome back, and of course you're watching the book with me, Susan Bell, and my guest is the Nwongebe Fonyi. There is this big lesson we learn about love in this novel, that when you love someone, you said it earlier, you need to be attentive, you need to be caring, you need to be affectionate, and without all this, the relationship is bound to break.
Absolutely.
And of course, Gift failed in doing all of that. Tell us a little more about it.
You know, like you say, nothing is as painful as realizing that you didn't mean as much to someone as you thought you did, and you look so foolish for caring that much. You know, nothing is as painful as being in a relationship with a proud person. It is about egos. People loving each other, but then not trying to work on their character deficiency. Because I want to say this, and I will repeat myself, that God can design a relationship in heaven, but it needs to be lived here on earth. And God can say you marry this person and end up not being successful if you don't work on yourself. And that's what happened with Gift. He had so much pride, so much ego, and so much distractions of locking lovers beside him. And then he thinks like, I can do without this. And then he came to realize the importance of the Keisha when Keisha was out of the big picture. And that's when he started thinking those days of not communicating, those days of ignoring, those days ease of raising his shoulders far above his head, which was already laid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in essence, every young lover must be attentive,
Actually,
must be caring,
caring.
and of course, every young lover, not even young lover, even adults,
Adult, you know,
they
work
should,
on your character.
and they should work on their character.
You work on
in
yourself
fact.
every day.
That's interesting to know. Now, you say happiness can be gotten in a relationship, understanding the person you're dealing with, and for that to happen, there are three key factors that they need to take into account: acknowledgement, apology, and assurance.
Actually, when you that is very powerful. I even say the powerful keys in building relationship. You have to acknowledge the other person. And then when you have wronged someone, you have to acknowledge that I am at the wrong. Many people don't do this. They find it difficult to do that. Then you assure the person, I'm not going to do this next time. This is not still a child's play. Because if you're not matured here, that's where it separates boys from men and men from boys. Because if you're not matured, you will not say, I'm sorry. Then tomorrow you say, I'm sorry. The next day you say, I'm sorry. You're not serious. So assurance is saying that this is not going to happen again. And then you try as much for it not to happen. You acknowledge your sin, you assure the person, and then you
apologize.
You apologize. So I think many homes need this. It doesn't matter whether you're young or old, but we need this. And that is keeping your ego, swallowing it, and knowing that there is so much to accomplish together. You can make heaven on earth if we will really complement each other in relationship, if we will decide not to be toxic to the other person, and then we can live a genuine life, really. If we swallow our pride. Really.
There is this very interesting point that you mentioned in the book. I'll read it the way it is.
Yeah.
You say happiness is like set of magic keys that can help you to unlock all unachieved dreams.
So powerful. And that be true. I don't know who is listening to me. And you discover before the statement is being made is as a result of procrastination. There's a young man who made the friends were discussing with friends, said, when do you think you'll be happy? He said, when I go to the university. He reached the university, he was still sad. They asked him, when do you think you'll be happy? When I'm in a relationship. He said, now you're in a relationship. Are you happy? He said, no. I think when I make $1 million. He made $1 million and was still sad and happy. And then one day his friend made him going to church very early in the morning. And he said, now you've made $1 million. Are you happy? He said, no, I'm going to church to pray so that I will be happy in the next world, in heaven. And that is a very powerful story. You know, I discovered that without happiness, we cannot achieve purpose. Nothing great has ever been achieved without enthusiasm. I bet you there are many people who are procrastinating their happiness, their joy, not knowing that it is now. They're not living in the now. They're either living in the past or in the future, not knowing that happiness is now. It is a way to heal and it is a way to give joy. But I bet you 99% of people are there procrastinating their joy. I'll be happy when I get it. I'll be happy. But the happiness is here. And once you're happy now, you can get those things. It flows.
Thank you very much. We are going to be taking the next break, which is titled The Vox Pop. And we have this question to ask the people out there. What are some of the sweet lies lovers sometimes tell each other?
You know, love is a beautiful thing. But when a man sees a woman, because most of the lies come from the men to the women, you will start hearing things like, I go Nigeria, bring you rapper. Somebody who does not even have a passport, who cannot even leave the country. You are the sugar in my tea, the butter in my bread. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. I love you past my mommy.
I'll die for you.
I will say, Mom, I cannot do without you. Yes, I know that when I say 1 minute without seeing you, it's like I'm somebody who's dying. I will always use those words to make her happy. Those are the things that we know all tell our lovers, to make them happy And at times you will say, no, mom, you see, as I'm going, I will make 10 minutes and I will be back. But you know that you'll be out for 3 hours.
Nobody tell them you are the apple of my eye, you are my A, I love you so much, you are the best woman in the world.
And some women will listen, but for me, I don't. It's they say love is not about words, it's about action. So action speaks louder than words. Even if you tell me you plug the moon and bring, you plug the stars and bring them first before we start talking.
You're welcome back, and of course, you're watching the book with me, Susan Bell, and my guest is Sidonius Wangibe. Sidonius, you just heard the people out there talk about the sweet lies that they tell their lovers. Now, tell me, what is your own sweet lie you tell your lover?
I'm very good at flattery, and flattery is all based on lies. It's not like complimenting, but flattery. I tell her that the smile is therapeutic. I tell her she's tall like a palm tree, even if she's down there. I tell her braids are like fresh like palm nuts. So I just bring out that positive energy in her. So if I know I would tell a lie that would make her happy, I would tell that lie.
Okay.
So that she'll be happy. Because sometimes I know the truth makes her sad. So more of flattering into flattering. And I'm a poet, so good at words. So that's it. Flattery.
That's interesting to know.
Flattery.
Well, you earlier talked about the role that the old man in the book actually plays. And for me, I consider him as a vessel of knowledge.
Actually. I think, that's what makes the book mature. When elderly people read it, they're like, nah, a young person like you write this book. It's the rule of the old man. Because this is a man who has lived a successful life, had children all over the world who are doing well. And then there is a point that he made well, because he said, a reason why you want a lover, you love someone, the person doesn't love you back, is because of this thing. He remembered when he was young and he wanted a successful life. He wrote a long chicken list of 52 pages of the qualities and attributes he wanted from the wife. And then when he finished with it, he asked himself, do I have these qualities? Do I reflect these same things? And then he started working on himself to build those qualities. So we are, most especially young people, are the exact opposite of what they're looking in their partners. An old man comes to reconstruct that. He also deals with intellectual compatibility, emotional compatibility, spiritual compatibility, and physical compatibility, which he considered the least. But that's what young people prioritize these days. And he also led people to understand that there are certain decisions in your life shouldn't be taken while you're smiling, while you're drinking alcohol, or while you're in beer parlors, but rather they should be taken on your nails. Why? Praying and fasting. Yes, and that's what people don't do.
And why do you think that these young people don't go down on their knees for their path to be open? Why do you think they don't go down on their knees? What are some of the things that distract them?
If you don't acquire the required knowledge, you cannot function well. And I believe that some people are even doubtful. Some people I've never heard God talk to me, so how will I go down? Some people are like, no, I'm sure he is the right one because he has the Moses, he has the this and that. So truth be told, young people really need to not be distracted. But young people, they're just walking the dark corridors of life.
So it's important not to take wrong decisions, because if you do, you will just be, mixed up, and nothing will work for you.
Absolutely.
Love is good. It's good to love.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Beautiful.
God, it's very beautiful. It's a beautiful sentiment. But there are other things that you must consider in order to live a blissful life.
Absolutely.
Okay, we are going to be taking the last break of the program, which is titled On the Shelf. And this time around, we are looking at what is a preface.
preface is basically an introductory section to a book. It is written by the author of that book and is majorly found in non-fictions and fictions. It is an important section of a book because it helps to provide information, salient information that could entice a reader to want to read more, given that it gives information on the background and context and some highlights that would make the reader will bring the reader closer to the author and equally make the reader want to read more about the text. It is very essential, I could say imperative, for a book to be prefaced. It is important because it is the medium in which the author can give his or her intentions behind the writing of the text or the book. That is, the author gets to explain, give the reason for the writing, explain why the book was written, the motivation, the drive, and all that. That's all of which pushed the writer to write about whatever the person has written about in that book. It's equally a medium in which the author can acknowledge all those who helped him or her in the process of writing, whether it be in the creation process or the completion process. It is equally a medium for the author to highlight salient facts about the text, give some background information. For example, if an author is writing about, say, the cultural pattern of a people, it's in the preface that the author will kind of give us information about who these people are, such that when we start reading the text, we are kind of situated, we know who we're reading about, and that kind of information. And by doing that, the author sets a tone, prepares the reader on how to approach the book, the reading of the book, and at the same time gives a significance, a weight of the work. So it is very important to preface a book.
We continue to talk about the mysteries of love written by Fonui Sidonus Nwangebe. Well, before we go, what do you think is the moral lesson of this book?
The Mysteries of Love.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the moral lesson there is really, we have to really seed and discover our purpose. Yeah, we really need to seed and discover our purpose and a redefinition of love. Most often at times, people don't love who they are. Deep within them, there's that emptiness. We don't even want to go about looks. They feel that emptiness within them. But yet, they want people who can love them for who they are, take them for who they are, knowing that it really comes from within. If you can take time to love yourself, if you can take time to work on yourself and build yourself, we will not have most of the toxic relationship and the toxic marriages that we have out there. True love comes from within. And then, discovering your purpose is very vital. It is primordial. Because if you don't discover your purpose, you're going to get a lot of wrong stuff, wrong people in your life. Because God gives you partners that will help you to accomplish what He sent you here on earth to do. That's bringing something from within you. But I bet you young people have had a wrong misconception of that. And then, if you love yourself, somebody comes. If that person is toxic, I bet you it's not going to get into you. This book teaches you how to transmutate your pains, how to move on, and how really to decipher if the person is a right one for you or not.
So don't rush into any relationship because you feel butterflies in your tummy.
Don't.
Okay? Yeah, because you see the person and you have goosebumps. Now you need to discover yourself first, the purpose of life first, before engaging into any relationship. Tell us, a book like this one, where do you think we can grab a copy?
Yeah, you can grab, it is on Amazon. You can grab it on Amazon. You go Fonui Sidonus Nwangebe Mysteries of Love. You can grab it on Amazon. It's also in Bamenda. It's also in Yaoundé, available in any region. If you just get to this contact, 67679 5711. And then they will direct you to the person. You can grab your own copy.
Okay, and how
Yeah.
much? For how much does it cost?
Yeah, it is 2.5, just the production price.
Okay.
Yes.
Very interesting. It is a thrilling story of Gift and Keisha. You're going to learn a lot as far as this is concerned. So I want to thank you all for having been there for this edition of the program. And before I go, I will always tell you, take it as it is and not the way you want it to be. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Do have a great day. Bye-bye.